pressure makes diamonds. It also lets you crack open a creme brulee. So pressure really is a good thing if you think about it that way. But there are some clubs that I think are under the pump a little bit throughout the 24 trade period. Now, I understand the argument being every club needs to get better during the trade period, and there is every which way that they can do that. I agree with you, but I just want to go through a handful of clubs that I am saying are under pressure throughout this trade period. This isn't going to be every club. If your club's not included and you take offense to that, I don't know what to tell you. But you should be subscribing. You should be liking. Join the Daz Talks Footy family and come with me as we slowly watch me go insane over the off-season. It's going to be fun. So, let's do this. 5 teams, under pressure, trade period. Let's go. Also want you to keep in mind as well that I am recording this before trade period has started. So, it is currently Sunday evening. So if this stuff doesn't quite age well on day 1 of the trade period, don't yell at me. That's my feelings. So, Carlton, you're under the pump to kick things off. But you're kind of under the pump in a good way because of the 5 clubs I'm going to talk about here, I am most impressed with the conviction that Carlton are showing in the off-season. They've got their reasons for wanting Matty Owies to look at other opportunities. I like that. I really do. Nick Austin's been pretty strong on they want a first-round draft pick to take into this draft. So if they are going to land Dan Houston, it is going to be with getting Gold Coast's pick 13, most likely. I love the conviction in that. And they have one of the best things that you can do in negotiation. They have walk-away power with the Dan Houston thing. And I love that. They're already going to get a midfielder and a winger with the Camporeale brothers, right? So if they don't land Dan Houston, go and draft a key defender. You're still okay. Rebounding defense is not your gateway to a premiership. Houston is an upgrade, not a necessity. So I've loved that. So Carlton, you're under the pump. Can you stick to the principles you are giving your fans throughout the trade period? Can you? I'm hoping you can. Going to Collingwood now. So Joe Richards, it looks like, may ask for a trade. They're in the hunt for Dan Houston. So all of these nice things are just percolating in the background for the Pies. They've already got Harry Perryman, so that's all well and good. But John Noble to Gold Coast, will they get their hands on Gold Coast's pick 13 and potentially more? Who knows? But Craig McRae prioritising players over picks is very Geelong-esque when you think of Jack Bowes, Tanner Bruin, Jeremy Cameron, these guys, whereas in terms of their high-rise draft picks, Jai Clark is really the only one that stands out from that pure top end, and Jai isn't getting consistent best 23 spots. So, are the Pies trying to do the same thing? Can they do it in the same way? Now, my argument here is yes, they are trying to do something relatively similar. No, it can't hold up. And I think the reason why it can't hold up is because the base at which they are starting from and the weaknesses that they have are not what they're targeting. Now, part of the key forward problem for the Pies is that there aren't really key forwards on the market. Jack Darling to Collingwood would make no sense, and I expect that Darling for pick 64 to be done relatively early during the day, so we'll see. But Jack Darling will be at North Melbourne. That's all well and good. There are no other key forwards on the market at the moment, at all. So I kind of get that problem may not be solved in this trade period, but if the report of 13 and I think 23 from Gold Coast for Noble in their first round pick, and then they on-trade 13 and 23 for Houston, cool. They get a halfback flanker. They're still not kicking the ball to anyone. They're still not going to be a good contested marking team in the forward line. And Myercheck, Cox, these guys are going to be 2 years on. We haven't seen what we would have liked to from Reef McInnes, these guys. So yeah, I'm worried about the Pies, and I think they may need to get a bit more shrewd here somehow, some way. But you're going to get Tommy McGuan next year. So Perryman this year, McGuan next year. Dacos is still there. DeGoey's around the mark. Crisp is still there. That's fine. You're still a key defender short. You're still a key forward short, and they don't look like they are solving either of those problems. So the Pies, you are under pressure. For obvious reasons, I am going to put Melbourne in the pressure category. Now, I don't think Clayton Oliver's going anywhere, personally. We'll see how that goes. That could age badly, but they would be under more pressure if Clayton did go, because what the hell are they going to do there? Now, the good news is that they are going to have a reasonably good draft hand here. They do have a top 10 pick, so that's fine. I think they could target Brisbane's first round pick because they will have the points there, so that works out all right. They won't need to look for the Max Gawn replacement for 2025. They'll have Tom Campbell and Tom Fullerton there. I know Fullerton didn't play this year, but maybe with another year of development, who knows? And then they've got Jeff White's boy, 25 draft, so that's fine. That's all taken care of. They probably wouldn't mind a key defender in the May Lever replacement role, but could they do that in another offseason? Who knows? But Melbourne, I think, need to worry about what they can get in rather than who's coming out, and I am just a little bit worried that they're going to be stuck in purgatory for a long time. And if you're in purgatory when Tassie come into the draft, you are screwed. And that is my worry for Melbourne and Melbourne fans. Your rebuild is going to accentuate for every 2 years that you're bad when Tassie kick in here. So instead of being able to do a 1 or 2 year rebuild, if you're bad when Tassie get here, that is going to stretch out to 4. And you're going to be in big trouble. The interstate club that I think is under the most pressure is actually going to be the Sydney Swans, which is weird, right? We know what the Giants are doing, you know, with the mini clean out, those kinds of things. Gold Coast, we sort of know what's happening with their space. West Coast, will they trade back? God, I hope not, for West Coast's sake, but Freo with Bolton and these guys, so that's perfectly fine. We know what Port are doing. We kind of know what Adelaide are doing with those guys coming in. Alex Neil-Bullen, Isaac Cumming, James Peatling, probably for a future second. So that all makes sense, but Sydney can't sit on their hands. They did it after 22 when they got smacked in a grand final and did stuff all in the trade period. They took a step back in 23 and, of course, rebounded this year. They can't do the same. They need help. What they do is going to be key. But what they can't do is nothing. If they do nothing again, they'll probably make the 8 next year and won't make a prelim. And that is another backward step. It'll be their second one after 2 smackings in 2 grand finals that going into the game, they were pretty favoured in. So they will definitely be under the pump this trade period for mine, because that wasn't good enough, and just thinking they'll rebound on the fly is not the answer. And then last but not least, I'm going with the Western Bulldogs, because this is a list that has an elite top end, a pretty bad bottom end, and a middling out of their list that's a bit meh. So where do they go from here? Great question, and one that they'll need to answer. Xavier O'Halloran for 4 years is the most Bulldogs off-season contract that I can think of. O'Halloran makes the middle of their list better, which is probably what they need, to be honest. But is he overall that much better than some other wingers, half-forwards on their list? Probably not. You know, he VL'd Riley Garcia, for example. Is it going to be such a big gap? I'm not that convinced. Halloran's played some good footy, don't get me wrong, but, you know, is it a move the needle kind of move? Now, I may be on board with if Halloran's not their only move and the sum of their parts could be a really good off-season, I'm with you. But Bailey Smith out, a first-round pick and maybe a future second, and Xavier O'Halloran in, and then whatever it costs for O'Halloran out is not enough for me to jump on the Bulldogs bandwagon. I don't think Adam Treloar's going to have a year as good as he had this year. Next year, Libba is another year older. What are they going to get out of a youngster like Riley Sanders? Could be high quality, but is that going to bring them towards a flag? Probably not. Norton and Ugle-Hagan are going to be under pressure. What does another year down back look for Rory Lobb? If they're retooling on the fly, which is what they're telling us they're doing, the Bulldogs, it starts now, and they are being suspiciously quiet on the trade front for mine. So fingers crossed the Jack Darling and Alex Neil-Bullen trades got done on Monday, or get done on Monday, I should say, because that would kickstart trade period. If you are subscribed to Daz Talks Footy, which you absolutely bloody should be, because nearly everyone else is, but if you're not, please do so, because there will be trade recaps and all these fun things that will be coming throughout the trade period. We are nowhere near done in the slightest. We go through for just before Christmas. Basically, we keep on rolling. And also, for those of you that missed my announcement, Daz Talks Horror, the second channel, November 1st. Is it weird that I'm skipping Halloween? Not really, but it is what it is, and I've already got the first video recorded. Just need to edit it. And it is a series ranking of one of my favourite horror franchises of all time that I think will be able to create some really good momentum for that second channel. The link to subscribe to Daz Talks Horror is in the pinned comment. It's also in the description. You can find it any which way there. I love you guys. Enjoy trade period. I hope your club makes fantastic moves. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. If it's your birthday today, I hope it's a magnificent birthday. And thank you for watching on the day that the sun spun around the earth for you one more time. And I will see you in the next video.